Hey YouTube, James from the Wyvern Watch here, and here with another deck profile, of course. This is my update to my pure Yang Zing build. Obviously had a slight change to it since Denlong has finally come back to full numbers again, of course. I've got it at 2 in this deck. I don't think there's need for a third, but it's back and we've got Yang Zing Pures at full sort of strength at the minute, and I'm still toying with the idea of 1 or 2 little extra bits and pieces which I'll show you coming up. But yeah, just wanted to sort of put the latest build out there, make sure it's up to date and you guys can see where I'm up to with Yang Zings. To give you a bit of background, it's my first proper synchro deck, I would definitely say. It's one of my oldest decks, and I think only sort of X-Sabers and Noble Knights maybe are older than this, but yeah, I think the first lot of cards came out in Duelist Alliance, I think, and then after that I think, well, Xiao 2 I think was New Challengers. I can't remember which one came first. I'm sure it was Duelist Alliance. So yeah, it's quite a while ago now, and some of these cards are starting to show their age a little bit. I mean, they've always been sleeved, of course, but they're not quite as, you know, they might be showing us some sort of curving age, as you can perhaps see there. And to be fair, some of the new ones do that as well. But it's still one close to my heart, and I keep up to date with the ban list, and this is the latest version. So let's kick things off, and of course we are starting with the Xiao 2, the man himself, which is probably the most powerful Yang Zing monster in your main deck, I would definitely say. There's a lot of powerful cards in this deck, but Xiao 2 is probably the go-to. There's another card in here that searches it out as well, so I'll come back to that once we reach it. But of course, you can send 2 Yang Zing cards to the grave, from your hand to the grave, to special summon 1 Yang Zing monster with 0 attack and 1 with 0 defense. And of course, that leaves it wide open for the various different levels that are available within your main deck to go for a number of different synchro summons. So the whole extra deck, of course, is synchro monsters. No links in this, as it was supposed to be a full-on, full-gas synchro deck. Xiao 2 is, like I say, one of the main components for that. I think the only other effect on here from memory, yeah, obviously it's obviously they all you know, special summon another Yang Zing monster from the deck when they've been destroyed, of course. And basically how they work is, if you've got a Yang Zing monster that's been destroyed with 0 attack, it will then special summon a Yang Zing monster with 0 defense. So they've all either got 0 attack or 0 defense. The only exception to that rule that I've just come up with is, of course, Chai Wen, which is the light of the Yang Zing. Try and get those reasonably central. So Chai Wen still shares the same effect, of course. When it's destroyed by battle, by a card effect sent to the graveyard, you can special summon Yang Zing monster from the deck, which is pretty much, like I say, all the main deck ones do that. However, this one can also special summon itself from the grave when another Yang Zing monster has been destroyed and sent to the graveyard. So again, an easy way to get a level 1 tuner monster out. It's then it's then banished once it leaves the field again, but you know, with you having 3, it's normally an easy go-to. But of course, it's 0 attack and 0 defense, so you can obviously bring this guy out once some of the others have been destroyed. Anyway, the next 3 they're all pretty much 3 in this, by the way. Like I say, it's a pure build, so I've filled the deck with Yang Zing names. Bixie, level 2, the water one. Again, all the other thing you should be aware of course, with Yang Zing is an old rule where it can possibly miss timing for the effect that sort of triggers where it can special summon from the deck. Because it is a when effect and not if. So when this card you control is destroyed by a battle or by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Yang Zing monster from the deck. So just be wary of that, guys. If you get chain blocked, then it can be easily it can be easily happen with Yang Zings, just need to be wary of that. But any monster using Bixie as material for a Synchro Summon, then it will become immune from traps, which does come up, of course. And all the rest of the Yang Zing monsters, bar 1 or 2 I think, allow you to Synchro Summon as a quick effect in your opponent's turn, of course, with using whatever materials you may have available on your side of the field. So 3 Bixies. And then also 3 Suani, the fire one. I liked the fact that they're all different elements. Most of the attributes, most of the decks up until this point were sort of single attribute, and they either focused on one or the other, whereas this one sort of brought to the table where you can actually run a deck with multiple attributes in it and it not worry too much about it. So same effect, of course, where it's going to replace itself, except this one, when it is used as material, the Synchro monster will then gain 500 attack and defense. And of course, it also allows you to quick effect Synchro Summon using the monsters that you have available to you. Next one is Beyond Earth of the Yang Zing. This one allows the Synchro monster to become battle immune when it's used as material. And again, still allows you to do a Synchro Summon as a quick effect. And also follows the strange trait where it will replace itself. The last couple of Yang Zing monsters is just 2 one-offs, which is the one Pula, which is similar to the others that I've just showed you, all the same sort of bits and pieces, apart from the fact it would render the Synchro monster immune from spells, which of course is really useful. But just the one-off on this occasion, not quite as good as the others. But Zefranu is literally there just for the level, and the defense at 2600. It's just a nice easy monster to bring out, you know, when you're required to special summon one with 0 attack. It also allows you to obviously go for slightly different Synchro monsters, with it being level 6, depending on which tuners you have available to you at the time. So fairly simple on that one. And this is the only sort of monster support card that I'm running is Visa Starfrost. Now obviously this card came out a lot later. Dimension Force, was it called? Yeah, Dimension Force, I think it was. So Visa Starfrost, start of all, it's an amazing pretty card. I mean, I picked these up when they first came out, and I don't think it was that popular at the time, so I got them at a reasonable price. I think it's been reprinted now anyway, to be honest with you, so I don't think they're worth an awful lot. But of course, it is a tuner monster to start with. It's a level 6 monster, which helps us out as well. So if this card is in your hand, you can target one monster you control with a different type and attribute than this card, which is not difficult in this deck because they're all worms and most of them are not light. Destroy that monster, and if you do, special summon this card. So obviously you're destroying a Yang Zing monster, but via card effect, which of course will trigger its effect in the grave and special summon one from the deck, which means it's immediately replacing itself, so that's no real downside for us. And if you do special summon this card, obviously that's fine, yeah. So you can only use the effect of Visa Starfrost once per turn, and when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to half the original attack or defense of that monster, whichever is higher, your choice if tied. And that again are combined with, that's standalone monster, and you might use it for its tuner ability, depending on which level you're going for, of course. But if you're destroying a monster, a Yang Zing monster, to summon this monster, you can decide which monster's coming out from the deck, which of course means that if you go for a non-tuner, vary the levels up a little bit, then you're straight into, I don't know, levels, Pula's level 1, isn't it, I think? Yeah, Pula's, so you could actually go for a 7, 8, Beyond is level 3, but I think it's a tuner, is it not? No, it's not tuner. So you could go for any level, all the way up to 4. So that's level 10. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different options anyway, but obviously we'll get to the extra deck eventually. But it's a really good little card for Yang Zings. Moving on to, I believe that's 20 monsters exactly. So moving on to spells, we're now playing Piri Reef's map as well. I'll get those nice and straight. Hopefully that looks all right in the camera. So at the start of the main phase, you can add one monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, but half your life points. And then after adding it to your hand, until the end of your next turn after this card was activated, you cannot activate the added monster effects or of the effects of cards with its name until you normal summon that monster or card with its name. So ordinarily you'd probably be going for the Xiao 2, which is the idea of running this card. It's a 0 attack monster, of course, and assuming you've got the extra 2 Yang Zing cards, they don't have to be necessarily monsters, so Yang Zing cards, you can then go ahead and send those to the graveyard and then special summon 2 from the deck, and off you go. It's a heavy cost, of course, but I think it's worth it if you haven't got the card you need in your hand at the time. That's it for 3-offs in terms of spells. So they were not running a massive spell count anymore. We're down to 2 Yang Zing paths. We're previously running 3, I believe. So 2 Yang Zing paths. So target 3 Yang Zing monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into the deck, then draw 2 cards. Nice and simple. But of course you don't want it on your opening hand because the chances are you're not going to have those Yang Zing monsters in your grave. We're also running 2 Pot of Desires, of course, because we are running multiple 3-offs, certainly in the monster count anyway. Maybe a single Prosperity in there to switch them out. Haven't thought about that really at this point in time, but Pot of Desires for now in this deck. Couple of one-offs as well. We're running 1 Change of Heart and 1 Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is still important in this deck because obviously it allows you to pull out whatever material you might need, including of course your opponent's monsters, in order to get to that 1 Synchro Summon that you definitely need in order to make a progress in the game. Same goes for Change of Heart, obviously stealing one of your opponent's monsters and then use it for a Synchro Summon. Moving on to traps, and it's a fairly heavy trap count. So we've got 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing, which I'm happy to say has been now reprinted into ultra rare. That feels like it was ages ago, but I think it was only last year actually. We go to the past 2. That's not this year, is it? It must have been last year. I can't remember, but obviously reprinted into ultra rare, which is really nice because previously I think it was just a rare. But when a trap card, a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, you can control one, and you control a Yang Zing card. Negate the activation, and if you do, shuffle a card into your deck. You can then destroy 1 Yang Zing card you control, which again is not a downside, of course, if you're going for a Yang Zing monster. We're also running 3 Yang Zing Creation. This is a really nice card. Continual trap, of course. So once per turn, if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 Yang Zing monster from your deck. You can only use special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. That ain't a problem with this deck, like I said to you before. But yeah, so this one's an if effect, so not a when, so it won't conflict hopefully with your monsters effects going off. You just need to be careful on which one is chained and when. You want the when to be the last chain, of course, not the first one. That's the way we're around, isn't it? So it needs to be, yeah, the when effect goes first, yeah. That's the way around you want it, I'm sure it is. Someone can comment on there if I've got it completely wrong. Next 3-off is Torrential Tribute. Nasty little card for your opponent, of course, to handle, but a nice bit of removal, and of course it doesn't hurt us an awful lot because most of the time you're going to be getting replacements for those monsters that have been destroyed. Next card is not a common card. This is Synchro Zone. Obviously there's not an awful lot of pure synchro decks out there, but this one, this card should be considered for any pure synchro deck really. So neither player can declare attacks except with synchro monsters. You can only use each of the following effects of Synchro Zone once per turn. If a non-tuner synchro monster is sent to your graveyard, you can target one of those monsters, special summon it, and if you do, it's treated as a tuner. And then during your opponent's main phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, and immediately after that effect resolved, synchro summon using monsters you control as material. That second effect, of course, is not that helpful because obviously most of our monsters will do that anyway. But really, you know, neither player can declare attacks except with synchro monsters is extremely useful. And like I say, that's why it's in here. And the last two cards of the main deck, it's like I say, I always generally like to run a little bit of back row removal, and in this case I've gone for the trap version. So Heavy Storm Duster, target up to 2 spell trap cards on the field, destroy them. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. But chances are you're going to activate it at the end of your opponent's end phase, so nice and easy there. So that's the main deck. Now moving on to perhaps the more exciting synchro deck, the extra deck. So I've tried to give as many levels as I can on here. I'll see if I can squeeze some of the, most of these on. We'll start here and then work our way across. So Tatsunoko, of course, is the level 3 tuner monster. Nice and easy, no need to explain there. Herald of the Arclight works well with Beyond, because then you've got a you can't be destroyed by battle. Hang on, any monsters when effect is actually a quick effect, contribute this card again. Destroy the card. If this card is sent to go, you can there. Yeah, but obviously just with it being indestructible by battle, and then obviously you can use its effect as and when you want to. Next, level 4 is Old Entity Hastor. Again, nice and simple, level 4. This card's been in the deck since the start, so I'm not likely to be removing it anytime soon. And then the introduction of the level 5s, of course, is 2 copies of Denlong. So Denlong, super useful card in Yangzing. Obviously, it had some impact in another deck. I assume was it Sword Soul it first came out with. I can't remember is the honest answer. But if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Yangzing card from your deck to your hand. And then once per turn, you can send 1 worm type monster from your deck to the graveyard. This card's level becomes that sent monsters. If this face-up card leaves the field, you can special summon 1 Yangzing monster from your deck, and you can only special summon Denlong first of the Yangzing once per turn. So it's a nice big fat defense bonus, of course, as well. It's level 5, depending on which tune you're using. There's lots of different monsters you can go into from there. But of course, it will gain you a Yangzing card anyway. So nice and easy. Level 6, you then got Coral Dragon, nice and common. Most people tend to see that if you're running Synchro decks. And the level 7s, then you've got 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. This is actually in the Ultimate Rare version, which is really nice. I think I've got 1 or 2 of those, but definitely one, of course, in the Yangzing deck. And the last level 7 is the Yazi Evil of the Yangzing, also in Ultimate Rare, which is really pretty again. So this card also came out in New Challenges, I believe. Yeah, I think it was. So that's sort of level 3 to level 7. And then onto the sort of slightly bigger ones. The newer edition, I don't think this was available last time, but this is obviously Visa Amatara. I think it was pointed out in the comments actually that I was running Visa Starfrost, but then someone said, why on earth are we not running this? And then, to be honest with you, I hadn't even given it any thought. I thought it was going to be part of the Visa Starfrost type deck and rather not relevant to Yangzing. But obviously it's 1 tuner plus 1 light monster, which isn't that difficult in this deck, of course. This card's name becomes Visa Starfrost while on the field. You can only use each of the following effects of Amatara once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add 1 spell or trap card that mentions Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand, which we're not going to be using because there's no cards that do. And then during your main phase, you can destroy 1 monster you control, and also all synchro monsters you control will gain 800 attack this turn. So that's where obviously its effects are more important in this particular deck. I'm still running 1 copy of Beals as well, still perfectly valid to get to because of course Xiao 2 is a dark tuner monster, so again not not too difficult to get to. One ultimate rare Skylight Red Dragon Archfiend, always a favourite. Well, in any deck that can make it, to be honest with you. We're then running 2 ultimate rare back Seers, Brightness of the Yang Zing. If you've ever seen Yang Zing before, you'll have seen Baxi before, because this is the one where it sort of bounces cards left, right and centre. The last Yang Zing card is Xiao Feng, Phantom of the Yang Zing, still in its super rare print. I don't believe there's any sort of more than that. And I do also have Trisha in the ultimate rare as well, which is really, really pretty card. My Ice Barrier deck has the Starlight rare one, of course. So Yang Zing was happy to keep the ultimate rare version. Guys, that's it for my Yang Zing deck profile. Thank you so much for staying on filming with me for the whole 20 minutes. Oh, blimey, I didn't realise it had gone on that long. Feel free to, of course, leave your comments as usual. I'd love to know what you think of the latest build. Glad to see Denlong back. Keep those subscriptions coming if you haven't already. Really getting very, very close to the 500 subscriber mark now, and obviously very, very keen to hit the next milestone, which of course is coming up hopefully in not too distant future. Once again, guys, we'll see you for the next profile. Thanks again. Bye bye.